Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Summer. If this is your first time on my channel, I actually had jaw surgery on May 3rd and today is July 31st, so it's approximately 12 weeks after my surgery. And I did want to come on here and give an update because two major things have happened since I've had my surgery, and I haven't had a chance to make an update video since then. So I've posted a few videos showing my journey. I'm not sure where I left off, but I had other footage, but the external hard drive that I keep my videos and photos and everything on is currently being worked on. I had an issue and I'm trying to get all my data recovered, so I'm not sure how long that's going to take, but I at least wanted to come on here and give a update of how everything's going, because like I said, two major things have happened to me and I'm going to talk about them in this video. So if you're interested in seeing that, then just keep watching. Alright, so the first thing. So I was out for about 3 weeks from work after I had my jaw surgery. I was actually supposed to go back on the 3rd week on a Monday, but I forgot to get a release to work letter. So that was delayed and I actually went back that following Tuesday. So I was out 3 weeks and 1 day. However, it was a good thing that I was able to miss work, because the Sunday before I was supposed to go back to work, I had woke up. The first thing I noticed, I had a red bump in the middle of my forearm, approximately right here. And it's very strange because, you know, usually if you get like a bug bite or something like that while you're sleeping, or maybe the night before and you just didn't notice it, it's not something that you normally notice right away. But it was the very first thing that I noticed right when I woke up. So I told my husband, I'm like, well, that's weird. And he looked at it. He didn't know what it was, of course. Neither did I. So my mother-in-law is actually a nurse, and she had come over that Sunday night for dinner, and I had showed her. And at first she thought it might have been a bug bite, but there was no obvious signs of like where I was bit. So then she thought I might have had some sort of infection, because it was also warm to the touch. So she recommended that the next day I go to the doctor and figure out what's going on, just to make sure it was nothing. So that Monday I was supposed to return to work. I actually made a doctor's appointment and they were able to get me in the same day. So I went there, and when I finally saw my doctor, she looked at it and right away she was like, well, that's weird. She's like, I don't think it's a bug bite either, for the same reasons I just said, because there was no obvious bite marks. So she's like, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and have you go down to the ultrasound department, which is in the same building. And then after you see them, I want you to come back and see me. So it's just down the hall. So that's what I did. I went and got an ultrasound done. And what they did is they did an ultrasound all the way from basically like my shoulder all the way down to my hand, even though the issue was in my forearm. And they were just checking my veins to see if I had any blood clots. And it turns out I actually did have 2 blood clots. I had one in my wrist, and then I had one in the part where your arm bends. I was a little scared when she told me that, I'm not gonna lie. It was a very, very stressful day. As soon as the doctor told me that I had 2 blood clots, she immediately went into giving me medicine options. And she's like, well, we have a non-reversal and we have a reversal. And then she started going into the benefits of each one. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I don't understand what any of that means, because I've never had a blood clot before. What are you talking about, reversal and non-reversal? And if you've never had a blood clot, you probably have never heard that either. So basically, when you get a blood clot, there's 2 different types of medicines. There is one that is more recommended, but it's non-reversal, meaning if you had some sort of injury, such as like a car accident, and you were cut or injured in any way and you were bleeding, the non-reversal means that there would be no way for them to stop the bleeding and you literally could bleed out to death. And I guess that one's more preferred because you don't have to be monitored as much. And then there's a non-reversal, then there is a reversal, meaning that if that same scenario happened, they would be able to do life-saving measures. So it wasn't even a no-brainer to me, because I traveled to Orlando, which is an hour and a half from my home, Orlando, Florida. and it's an hour and a half from my home, so I have to take I-4, which is a highway, to get there. And I was going to the doctor, you know, every 2 weeks basically, so I said that's just not an option. I have kids, there's no telling what could happen on a highway, so I definitely chose the reversal one because I wasn't going to take any chances. That's just crazy. So what that meant was that I have to now go see an anticoagulation clinic every so often to have my levels monitored, since I'm on this blood thinner medicine. So basically what I have to do is go to the anticoagulation clinic, and at first I was going every few days to get my blood drawn so they could check my levels, and then I started going once a week, and then now I'm up to going once a month. So again, this happened 3 weeks post-op, and I'm now 12 weeks post-op, so I've been on the medicine for about 9 weeks now, and now I'm up to going just once a month because my levels are controlled, but I still do have to be on the blood thinners for as long as they tell me, basically. The spot that I had that was red and had the huge bump, it has gone away. It went away probably a few weeks after I started the blood thinners, and then also my arm never got swollen, because that is also a possible side effect of having a blood clot, is that your arm could swell up like a balloon. So thankfully that never happened either. So I think I caught the blood clot very early on. So this is just my public service announcement that if you ever feel like, you know, you may have something wrong with you, because I know a lot of times people put it off because they don't feel like it's either a big deal or it'll go away on its own, or they don't want to go to the doctor for some other reason. Maybe it's, you know, financial issues. But if you ever feel like just something's not right, I do recommend going to see, you know, a doctor just to make sure everything is okay. Because especially with my heart condition, if I would just have ignored it just because it was a random red bump on my arm, there's no telling where the blood clots could have gone. I mean, it could have affected my heart. I could have had, who knows? I'm not a doctor, so I'm not even gonna go into the possibilities, but I do think I caught it early on, so I am grateful for that. So that is the first major thing that's happened to me. Then the second thing that I wanted to talk about is my overbite. So if you've been following me, you know that the reason I had the lower jaw surgery is because I had a significant overbite that I've dealt with my entire life. And I had the surgery, I had the sharp surgery first, which they expanded my upper mouth to make it wider because it was very narrow. And then I got my braces put on. And then after that, on May 3rd, I had lower jaw surgery. So as I've watched many other YouTubers and people's journeys on YouTube, you know, you have the surgery to fix your overbite. That's the whole purpose of the surgery. So immediately after surgery, I just knew and felt that I still had an overbite. Like, it was very clear to see. But I had the rubber bands on, which kind of like put the jaw kind of in the right position. But even with the bands, it didn't look perfect. And there was a few times when it looked really well, but as soon as you took the bands off, you know, it just went right back to having an overbite. Granted, it was improved, but it was not all the way fixed. So I had mentioned this to the oral surgeon from the very first time I went to my follow-up appointment, you know, just asking him if it was normal. He said, that is normal. You're still swollen in the back. That's probably what's throwing the bite off. Don't worry. So, him being a surgeon, I just said okay, and just kept going to each appointment. You know, I always made a comment about it, and he always would do like an x-ray, I believe. He would do that at every visit, and he said he was happy with the results and send me on my way. Now, keep in mind, I drive an hour and a half to Orlando, and I was going every 2 weeks to see him, and it was basically the same thing. You're doing well, just keep going. You know, nothing significant ever happened in the visits. Well, approximately 6 weeks post-op, I had went to, again, the surgeon to talk to him. And at that point, he released me back to my orthodontist. He said, it's been 6 weeks, you can continue your orthodontic treatment. So great. I was happy about that because that meant the end was near. By the time they were able to get me in to the orthodontist, it was approximately, I want to say, at least 7 weeks, but maybe 8. So when I went to the orthodontist and she said, so how's everything going? And I said, well, it's going well, but to be honest with you, it still looks like I have an overbite. Wanted to make this very clear to everyone that I came in contact with to make sure that I am not going crazy. She's like, okay, well, we'll definitely take a look at it. So they did the normal things where they, you know, put those mirrors in your mouth and they take the photos. I'm pretty sure that's like standard at every doctor. And then they just wanted to get like updated photos since the surgery so they can put it in my chart. And then the orthodontist came over. I told him my concerns, and then he took the little measuring tool that they do. He asked me to bite. He measured my overbite. And then when he was done, I said, okay, so how bad is it? And because I know I have an overbite. So he said, it is 6 millimeters. And I said, well, wasn't it 11 to start with? And he looked at my file and it was. And he said it might have been a little bit worse before surgery because when you're moving teeth, it sometimes can get worse before it gets better. But he said, yes, it was right around 11 millimeters. And from somewhere in my past, I was told like 2 millimeters is like a normal overbite. So I'm at 6. So I told him, I said, so what does that mean exactly? Because I'm not sure at this point if they're going to be able to fix that with braces or what exactly is going to happen. So he said, worst case scenario, you're going to have another jaw surgery, a corrective jaw surgery. And hearing that, I was pretty devastated. My orthodontist assured me, he's like, just don't worry. He's like, we will get this figured out. Whatever we got to do, it's fixed. So after I left the orthodontist, I did feel confident that whatever had to be done, it was going to be done to fix the situation, that they weren't just going to leave me like this after I've paid thousands of dollars and went through 2 surgeries to still have an overbite. That would just be crazy. That's just crazy thinking about. So I had an appointment with my surgeon a couple weeks, if not the next week after I saw my orthodontist. My orthodontist assured me he was going to contact the surgeon and they were going to figure out what to do. So when I went to my surgeon, he was already all prepared. He came in the room with this big old box and it had like all of my molds and just like all of my documents and pictures and everything like that in it. And like the little skull thing that shows you how your teeth are gonna look. He was ready to get to the bottom of this. When I went to the surgeon, without me even bringing it up, he was already prepared to talk to me about the issue that I spoke to with my orthodontist about. And he basically said, you know, I spoke to your orthodontist. I understand you have concerns that you still have an overbite. Let me take a look. So he evaluated my teeth and he finally saw what I was seeing. He said, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do a CAT scan on you. And we're gonna go from there. So did the CAT scan. He sat me down and he basically said, you know, I'm not gonna have any answers for you today. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare this CAT scan to the pictures that we took right after surgery and compare them. Then after that, next time you come in, I'm gonna sit you down and we're gonna have a game plan of what to do, because he basically told me that I've gone through a lot to get where I'm at and he wants me to have the best result possible. He also said that he had a suspicion of what happened. He said, on my left side, I was bleeding a ton. Now, I was not on blood thinners at the time, so he wasn't sure what would have caused me to be bleeding like that, but he said when they were working on this side, it was bleeding a lot. So his suspicion is that when they tried to put the jaw into place, that maybe it didn't go all the way in the right place because there was too much blood, basically preventing it from happening. So he said, you know, that's just my suspicion, don't hold me on that, but next visit, you know, we're gonna have more information. He's like, if we have to go back in, we have to go back in. But he was very assuring that they were gonna get to the bottom of it and that whatever needed to be done would be done. So I left that visit not knowing the outcome of what would happen in the future. But since he was very reassuring and, you know, he seemed like he understood my concerns, I felt at least happy leaving because I knew something was going to result out of this. Because my biggest concern was when I wore the bands, my jaw was kind of aligned and it looked a lot better. But when you took the bands off, it would just go back. So my concern was that if I would go through all this, the orthodontic treatment, wearing the bands like they tell me to, and then towards the end they take my braces off, is my jaw just gonna go back? Because that would just be crazy. I've seen so many videos of people having the surgery and their jaw is just perfectly aligned. It's where it needs to be. Yes, you gotta do little corrections here and there, but the major part is supposed to already be done. So that was my biggest concern. Then in 2 weeks, I went back to him, the surgeon, and basically what he told me is that the left side of my jaw did not break. Did not break fully, or whatever the case may be, but it was supposed to be a clean break, and that didn't happen. He said it's a very difficult area to get to, but basically because it didn't break how it needed to in order for them to put the jaw in the right position. So I have to have another surgery, a correction surgery. And he did tell me that he was gonna put in the order for the left and the right side, just in case I have to go back in on the right side for any reason. But I have to go back in and have the surgery done again. And he basically told me it is gonna be like redoing everything all again. I have to go get the cardiac clearance. I have to get the clearance from my regular doctor like I did last time. It's basically, and it is, redoing everything all over again. Real quick, I just wanted to come on here and just show you what my bite does look like, so you can see how my bite is looking and why I was so concerned. So this is the side that they're saying didn't break. So I asked him if they are going to use the same spots to do the screws, or if I'm gonna have more screws in my mouth. And he said most likely they're gonna do a complete reconstruction of my jaw. They're not gonna use the same screws, and they're gonna have to figure out new places to put them. Then I asked him if I am going to be the one responsible for paying for this. And he said this most likely would fall under a free surgery, but he would have to talk to the surgery coordinator to figure that part out. Basically, when I left that appointment, all I knew is that I was going to have another surgery, but I didn't know anything else. Didn't know the financial aspect of it or when. I am not wearing my bands at all anymore. I took them off. I had to stop all my orthodontic treatment. They're not even seeing me because the surgeon had made a splint. He didn't use the splint the first time. It wasn't needed, but since the orthodontist didn't really do that, they didn't do anything. When I went to that appointment to tell them my concerns, they didn't adjust anything because they wanted to talk to the surgeon first. So my teeth haven't shifted or moved to my knowledge. So he just wanted to keep that same splint. It would just be a lot easier if he can just use the same splint that we had the first time. So they stopped all orthodontic treatment. So I'm not seeing them at this time. So the only person I really am gonna keep going to see is just my regular dentist for cleanings, and then the surgeon to figure out what's going on with the surgery. I'm not probably gonna make any more update videos until I figure out when my surgery is and, you know, just stuff leading up to that. But as of an update for my surgery, it stops here. There's just nothing else to say about it. Like, I know that people have said, you know, is your jaw clicking? Is it popping? Or any other surgery related questions. I just feel like I cannot answer those because I don't feel like I had the full experience to be able to be sharing advice or things that have happened to me when I guess my surgery wasn't done all the way. I don't know how else to say it. Of course, I can answer anything with the SERP surgery. And if you do have any questions, I will try to answer them. But as of like the after effects of after the surgery, I just don't feel like I'm the right person to ask right now, just because I'm not sure if the things that have happened to me are normal because the left side had all those issues. She also did say that this has only happened one other time in their office, and I'm the second person that has to have the surgery done again. So yay for me, I guess. I was the lucky one. But for you guys, that should be a good sign that this is very rare to happen. So I don't want what's happened to me to affect you to be scared that it could happen to you. I have watched so many YouTube videos and this has never happened to any of them. But I don't want you guys to get scared. But I did want to at least share my experience because it's happened to me. So that's basically where I stand right now. Can't really give you like a 6-month update yet, But trust me, once I have my second surgery, I will redo all the videos again, and I will keep you posted with that surgery. But until then, guys, hope you guys stay safe, take care of yourself and your families, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!